Hello everyone, this is the second video of the Geistridge campaign summary so far. This episode we're going to be covering sessions 4 through 6. These were some really exciting sessions. We had bog ogres, we had witches, we had vampires, and let's get into it. So, Session 4, Witch Hunt. The players are looking for Annabeth the Hill Witch. Why are they looking for Annabeth? Well, because the young man Solomon, the star actor in the upcoming play of Globetown, has gone missing, and he went looking for Annabeth, hoping to find or make some sort of deal with a mysterious witch. So they think that perhaps Annabeth has kidnapped him or is holding him or would at least know where he went. So that's what their goal is. They start heading north. They run into the 3rd Legion base. And who do they meet at the 3rd Legion Kobold base other than General Cornelius? They politely inform Cornelius that the Senate has declared him a wanted man and an enemy of the state. They don't want to ruffle his feathers too much, but they figured he would like to know. And it seems like he knows because he replies that the Senate makes these broad proclamations all the time, gets upset about every little thing. They'll probably change their mind next week. He is technically under arrest, although it's clear to the players that everyone is still following his orders, and the soldiers arresting him seem more like his servants and guards. But the players get instructions from him and start heading to Annabeth's witch hut. They arrive, they have to go through this strange foggy village or valley, and they have to fight some ogres, some bog ogres on the way there, and they come to this strange hut, a hut that doesn't have like 4 walls and a roof. It's this strange amalgamation of walls, floors, roofs. Kind of looks like a bad AI image, an imitation of a building. But Annabeth is there and is happy to see them, willing to let them in and come talk. The players are a little trepidatious, but they do enter into her hut. It's cozy inside to a certain extent. There's a fire, there's food on the table. Annabeth has them all sit down. It isn't long before they notice some strange things. There are lots of little birds stuck in cages, and there is a beating heart in one cage nearby. These go unnoticed by some of the players and unmentioned by Annabeth as she eagerly offers the players some food, some hospitality. The food is disgusting, it's hard to eat, but the players know that if they, or Annabeth makes it clear that it would be very rude of the players not to try to eat some. There's also some drink. One of the players tries the drink and finds that it's amazing. It tastes delicious and it actually heals them. Some of the players eager for some hit points chow down and drink some of this delicious liquid, only to find coins at the bottom of their glasses. What could these coins mean? Well, it means you're cursed. Obviously, don't drink anything a witch gives you. Get cursed. These coins are Annabeth's way of tricking you into accepting payment. You've made a deal with her unwittingly just by taking the coin out of the bottom of the cup. So yeah, now these players, or 2 of them at least, have this strange curse on them. And it continues in kind of an awkward, not a fight yet, but a competition of who can best manipulate social customs. Annabeth seems to care very much about the rules of hospitality and takes great offense whenever the players aren't gracious guests. It isn't long before one of the players has the bright idea of casting Speak with Animals and talks to one of the birds in one of the cages. The bird in the cage immediately says, I'm Solomon, and you've got to get out of here. She's going to turn you into a bird just like me. And it isn't long after that when a fight breaks out, and it is a huge fight. Annabeth has a bunch of minions in her witch hut. They turn Solomon from a bird back into a young man, and Solomon, who is just a villager, takes a chair and starts immediately joining the fight on the side of the players. It is a huge and very dangerous match inside these close quarters. Um, but the players manage to escape. They manage to break out. They take Solomon with them, and they manage to grab that weird beating heart to escape with that as well. So that brings us to session 5. Between sessions 4 and 5, the two players who got coins, who were basically tricked into some kind of deal with Annabeth, they both have strange dreams of things they could possibly want. They wake up with those coins that they had in that witch's hut still in their pockets or on their chests while they sleep, and they start to lose maximum HP. Slowly, 1 point at a time. And that's pretty evident that they either need to go back and make a better deal with Annabeth, or they need to kill Annabeth. And you can guess which one the players decide on. So they gather up some fellow adventurers and head to the witch's hut, their little gold coins rolling along, following them the whole way. They, of course, stop by the 3rd Legion camp again. The 3rd Legion camp is brimming with troops who are all training. They're testing out their new trebuchet that they're very proud of. The players are a little bit unnerved by this, which they should be. Cornelius, while they see him there, makes them promise that if they find anything strange there, something that would belong to a kobold perhaps, that they would bring it back to him and he'd be happy to pay them for it. The players have a pretty good idea of what he's talking about because they already have it. It's that still beating heart that they took from Annabeth's one of her cages. This heart they identified as a kobold heart, and it is clearly still alive. It's very strange to them, and they're carrying it around. They don't give it to Cornelius yet, but they are starting to weigh the likelihood of whether or not it would be worth it, and they're starting to wonder, is this Cornelius's heart? Is this another kobold's heart? Who is this, and why is it so important that Cornelius wants it back? So, anyways, sorry, they head out to her hut. They head through this terrible fog. There's these ravens surrounding them, and it becomes pretty clear that they're looking for a fight, and Annabeth the Witch is ready for a fight. She has her house up on legs. She's leaning out of it, casting spells. All these bog ogres are back. This one poor player playing the sorcerer, I think it was Neeks, the bog ogres grab her like 4 or 5 times. I felt really bad, but also not that bad. But it's a tough fight. This was like a critical role fight. It went on forever. There were a ton of players. It was a super tough battle. Eventually, they managed to drag Annabeth out of her house onto the ground, and the two barbarians managed to defeat her after Bink was turned into a mouse and Corvo was dragged away. Both of them work together and defeat the witch. And take her magical items, find out a little bit of more backstory about her. But basically, Annabeth the Witch is no more, and all those curses that she had put on people have been released or absolved. So they go back to Cornelius, and Cornelius asks if they found anything. They said yes. Oh, why? What a coincidence! We did find something. We've got this kobold heart. Cornelius, the general, is immediately interested. He promises them either a ton of gold or promises to help protect Oriana. He's got a bunch of soldiers that are loyal to him. And he says if they give him the heart now, then he will promise to send soldiers in Oriana's time of need. Some of the players are aware that there's an army of hobgoblins on the horizon still approaching Oriana, so they're happy to make that deal. They give Cornelius the heart, and in exchange, Cornelius promises to send aid in Oriana's time of need. Before we completely move on from the story of Annabeth the Hill Witch, the players learned 2 very important pieces of information from her. Firstly, Solomon, the reason he went to go find her is because he wanted to trade whatever it took to find a way to kill Count Rodar von Glauer. Obviously, the deal didn't go well for him, but he did find out that there is a special blade, an ancient sun blade of some description, that is buried deep under Geistridge, and if one were to excavate it and wield that, they might have a chance against Count Rodar von Glauer. Another important piece of information discovered by Corvo was that his sister, Verdun Sasarin, is still alive at the top of Karmic the Golden's teleporting tower. How she lived that long and what her condition is are unknown, but now the players have a place to look and a mission to go try to rescue her. So, Session 6, Meeting Count Rodar von Glauer. At the end of last session, the players had received a letter inviting them to go meet Count Rodar von Glauer in Globetown, inviting them to come see the play that he has written and that his actors are rehearsing. So the players set out towards Globetown. First, on their way, they see the Tower of Karmic the Golden suddenly appear before them. But not only does it appear, but it appears they're not the only ones looking for it. The Duergar somehow knew where the tower was going to appear and have a head start against the players. Both the Duergar and the players are more interested in looting the tower and advancing up it than they are in fighting each other, but combat does break out because the Duergar are not eager to make any friends or share any of the loot. But the players are triumphant and they make it to the third floor where they see some of the experiments that were taking place in this tower. There are mechanisms that would drain the magic from powerful spellcasters and store them somehow for use later, and they find several dead bodies of such spellcasters, along with some of the research notes of the people who were practicing this terrible arcane battery magic. Anyhow, they eventually do make it to Globetown. The skeleton guards there don't attack them, they let them pass. They come inside and meet Count Rodar von Glauer. Well, first they meet Helen, and then Helen introduces them to Count Rodar von Glauer. Count Rodar von Glauer is calm, he is smooth, he is confident, he's dressed in the decorum of the old nobility of Glorianus, and it soon becomes apparent that he is a noble of Glorianus from all so many years ago. Some of the players, in fact, happen to be descendants of nobility themselves. Count Rodar von Glauer is delighted to hear this and immediately invites the players to sit down and have a fancy dinner. Count Rodar von Glauer is happy to talk with them, eager to learn about Oriana. He was under the impression that almost everything from the old world had gone away, and it was up to him to preserve it as well he could. There's a moment where, offering them some fine wine, he takes out an original bottle of Glorianus vintage wine and attempts to pour it out for them, and seems kind of confused and distant when the only thing that comes out is slime and gunk because it has simply been too long to preserve anything. And he wistfully remarks that even the taste of Glorianus is gone. But the players get along with him fairly well, and he's happy to talk to the other nobility. It quickly becomes clear that he still cares about all the old traditional social rights of Glorianus. He's very kind to the noble players and kind of passively dismisses the other characters. He's also eager to entertain. He has all the citizens of the town practicing for their big play, and so he welcomes them to come watch the play. Meanwhile, our young hero Solomon tries to get the players' attention and manages to talk with them in secret for a little bit. He tells the players that he's working on some kind of plan to possibly kill Count Rodar von Glauer. The players are curious about this and ask Solomon, well, okay, what's your plan? What have you seen Count Rodar do? How tough is he? And Solomon says that he's seen Count Rodar von Glauer pick people up, fly 100 feet into the air, and then throw them back onto the ground, or set entire buildings on fire just to kill people. It's not encouraging news, but the players promise to keep helping Solomon, and then quickly rush back before Count Rodar notices that anyone is missing. At the end of the evening, Count Rodar von Glauer invites one of the players to a sword fighting duel, kind of to show off in front of the actors, this is what a real combat looks like. Count Rodar is clearly a trained swordsman. However, and surprisingly, the player who chooses to fight him, Corvo, is just as good and managed to match him point for point in their little staged duel, which clearly annoys Count Rodar von Glauer to some extent because he was planning to embarrass the players and show how powerful he was. But the evening ends, the players have some information, and they peacefully leave Globetown, promising to return once the play is ready to be performed in a few weeks.